Okay, so listen, I know it's been like a very, very long time since I've made a video, like over 2 years. Oh man, I hope you guys are doing well. I've still been making videos behind the scenes, but I just haven't been posting anything. I've been busy with life, and life can throw you for a loop and throw obstacles in your way. But we're here. I've made it back to YouTube, and I just want to be a little bit more successful in the future. Let's be more consistent. I'm telling myself that right now. I want to be more consistent with everything. That is my goal for the rest of this year and the beginning of next year. Just be consistent with whatever you're doing, and the outcome will be the outcome. That's it. Okay, so let's start out with something fairly easy to do when it comes to making videos. Let's talk about all the gear that I have continued to accumulate while I've still, I haven't been on YouTube basically. Still been purchasing things. Uh, Unfortunately, to the protest of my wife, I've still been purchasing things for YouTube with the design of eventually getting back on here. So we're gonna break down everything I own to this point that I'm gonna be making. It's not everything that I own, but it's everything that I'm gonna be using to this point to make YouTube videos. All right. But first things first, let's talk about motorcycle stuff, but it's not gonna be that long. Um, I have a new addition to motorcycle accessories, or an accessory to my helmet. Let's start off with that, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes of the video. So if you don't know, I am rocking the Shoei RF 1200. This is a really great helmet, by the way. It's very quiet. I think this is like a mid-level helmet. It's not cheap. It's not a cheap head. It's not a cheap helmet by any means. Okay, at least 3 years ago when I purchased it, I think I purchased it for like $400 or $500 or something like that. It's a really great helmet. It's quiet, serves its purpose. I picked up the adjustable one lens here. I have where you get into the sun and it dims on its own. It gets darker on its own. Yeah, I have that one. But I want to talk about the new addition to the helmet, and that's the Sena 50S. Now, I'm brand new to these types of things. The Bluetooth mesh systems that they have. I'm brand new to it. Obviously, I've heard great things about Sena. So listen, I just decided to bite the bullet, spend the. I don't even know how much I paid for it. It was like a year or so ago. I just decided to buy it because one, I wanted music, and then I wanted the ability to maybe communicate with other riders in the future if I decide to go on rides with other people, and hopefully in that group we will have like centers and whatever, the pack talks, all that stuff. You can connect through Bluetooth, or you can use mesh systems if you're exclusively riding with people that have center headsets, which I'm hoping I would. But anyway, that's why I purchased it. It's a plus that I get to listen to music. It's a really great plus that the phone call ability is straight up amazing. Like my wife, when I first purchased it and she didn't know I had it, she didn't know that I was on a motorcycle. I had to make her sit back and listen, and she could hear my engine going while I was going down the highway. That's the only way she could know. And obviously, I was not going 80 miles an hour. So obviously, if you're going 80 miles an hour, you're probably going to hear the wind noise. Okay, but let's say if you're going a reasonable speed, like legitimate highway speeds on between 55 and 65, maybe touching 69, 70, perfectly fine. Sounds good. Really, really good system. All right. Now, let's get on to the meat and potatoes. Let's talk about audio. That's how we're going to do it. We're going to talk about audio, video, audio interfaces, and then maybe we'll get into lighting, and then we'll talk about lenses that I'm going to be using. All right. First up, audio. So, obviously, you can see that I'm rocking the DJI microphone. Now, I purposely purchased this for one camera and one camera only. And we'll get into that camera later, but listen, it's a plus that it works with all these other cameras except one camera. There's one camera that it doesn't work with. But, and again, we'll get into that next, or yeah, we'll get into that next. We'll do video next. We'll switch it up. We'll do video next. Um, Listen, I love the fact that how small it is. It sounds great, but it looks great too. And that's kind of important to me. It has to sound great, it has to perform well, and it needs to look good. And to me, this is one of the best looking microphones for camera use. Now, don't get me wrong, Rhodes are really, really good, but to me, all right, in my opinion, it's an outdated hardware. I just wish they would make it smaller. Why couldn't they have made Rode Wireless Pro this small? That's what I was kind of wishing they would do. Make it smaller, make it look good on camera so I don't have to run a lavalier if I don't want to. But listen, this looks good on camera. That is what is keeping this above everything for me right now when it comes to these cheaper wireless systems. I mean, they're not cheap. They're like $300, so that's not cheap. But in the audio world, obviously we know $300 is entry level when we're talking about wireless systems. There are thousands and $1,000 ones, couple $1,000 wireless systems. There's a bunch of stuff out there. But anyways, okay, DJI microphone. I'll tell you why I bought these, and I'll go in a little bit more detail later when we get to video. All right, what's up next? Sticking with wireless systems, these are my OG Rode Wireless Go's. I love these things. Sound good. The only downside to these is, man, they would peak a lot. You didn't have a lot of control with these. You set them and that was it. I mean, there wasn't much setting, but you couldn't do much with them. You just put them on and then that was it. Not much gain control with those. Okay, next up is the newest addition to my wireless systems. This is the Rode Wireless Pro. I know I was just talking junk about the Rode Wireless Pros and how I want the hardware to change. But just look, they sound great. Don't get me wrong. They're really good. I just used them for a video for my daughter. They had to do a video for school, an interview for their class project. And we used these with the locking lavaliers. They sound amazing. They really do. 32-bit float, time code, which I would never use. I didn't buy these for time code. I more or less bought them for 32-bit float when you can have, I can have these things recording at the same time of, transmitting to my camera here. But the downfall, the only thing that I don't like about the Rode Wireless Pro, look, compare the two. One is significantly bigger than the other. Not significantly, but in my eyes, it's big. All right, it's too big and boxy. Rode, you need to change the form factor on this thing. It needs to be smaller. You can do it. Rode has done it. I mean, DJI has done it. You can do it. You can fit all of your technology inside of something this small. Just give me the same size as the Rode. I mean, the DJI. I don't know why I keep saying Rode. Give me the same form factor. Give me something that's small. But listen, these are great. These also come with everything you need to just set up and go. Plug and play. Boom. Update them once and get it over with, and then you're good to go. Okay, let's move along. Let's get into some shotgun microphones. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why I purchased this, but I had a really old Rode, the Rode microphone, the Pro. I had a really old one. Okay, so I figured, listen, I'm not gonna buy the other one that's like $200 or $300. I just can't do it. I have wireless systems now. I don't want to buy a shotgun microphone that sits on my camera. That just doesn't make sense to me personally. Not when you have wireless systems that cost the same. But this one was $100. This is one of the newer ones. I think this is the Rode NTG Go or Rode Go or whatever or something. I don't know, NTG Go or something like that. Anyways, it sounds pretty good for what it is. But again, not the direction I'm going in when it comes to audio going forward. All right, so let's get into some real shotgun microphones, some legitimate XLR microphones. I can't talk. All right, I'm trying to go fast because I've tried to make this video like 7-8 times, and every time they're 30 minutes. I'm trying to stay under 30 minutes. Okay, so MKE 600. This was my entry level into real legitimate shotgun microphones. this sounds pretty good. Now, obviously, I have not used it on camera, but I have been messing with it. I've been playing with it and using it behind the scenes. I've been testing it and all of those things. It sounds pretty damn good. Now, this thing can be powered by a battery. It is actually designed to be used as an XLR shotgun microphone out of frame, and it also is designed to be used as a shotgun microphone on top of your camera. The great thing about this, one is you could do that. You can put this on top of your camera. The real great thing about this is it's $300 and it sounds amazing. It really does sound amazing. Now, is it on par with some of the next microphones that I have? Nah, this don't compete with the other two that I have. And these are my most expensive microphones that I own so far. So, let's jump right into these and we'll go from cheapest to most expensive. Okay, these microphones are not cheap whatsoever. Now, this one, the MKH 416, we'll break down these, microphones in our next video. We'll do some little side-by-side comparisons and things like that. But yeah, MKH 416, man, this microphone sounds good. Okay, good. Sounds amazing. Now, if you don't know, that is like an industry standard microphone for filmmaking. They still use it to this day, along with other new things that come in now. I know they use the Sheps, they use a bunch of other microphones, but the 416 is the tried and true microphone for filmmaking, indie filmmaking, documentary, everything like this. This is where a lot of people want to end up. And, I'm fortunate and lucky to be able to own one. But it's not my favorite. Now, the MKE 600, if I didn't say, is a $300 microphone. That's what makes it great. It's a $300 microphone in comparison to other professional audio gear. That is a steal. That's cheap. MKH 416, it is a $1,000 microphone. That's before taxes. That's before shipping and handling. That's before all of that stuff. It's a $1,000 microphone. Okay. It is not for everyone. If you want to level up your audio, you will buy a 416 or the next shotgun microphone, or I don't even know if it's considered a shotgun microphone, but you will either purchase the 416 or something similar, or this next one that I'm going to bring up right here. Now, listen, I have to say, the only reason I purchased this microphone, the only reason I knew about this microphone is honestly Tom Buck. I love all his content. He's a very humorous guy. I love the humor that he brings to YouTube and his videos. Very quirky and dad jokey-ish type stuff. But anyway, this is the MKH 50. My goodness, this thing is amazing. Now, listen, this is a $1,200 microphone. This is not going to be for everyone. Just like the 416 is not going to be for everyone. But if you want to level up your audio, and these are far superior than I would say, especially they're far superior if you're doing sit-down interviews. When it comes to wireless systems, this is what you want to be using: a 416 or MKH 50. $1,200 microphone. It sounds amazing. We'll do a video. We'll test all of these videos. I need to do a little bit more upgrading of the sound in this room to get rid of some of the echo. You could probably hear it in the audio here, but man, I'm happy I have this. You're probably going to hear this microphone in a lot of other videos. And then when we go outside, the 416 is really designed for outdoor use, but it can be used indoors. The 416, you'll probably hear me when I'm outside if I'm not using something like this. But man, MKH50, amazing little microphone. It's short for a reason. It's designed for indoor use. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's talk about audio interfaces. Now, I'm going to need something to pair with my XLR microphones. Sure, you can use the Rodecaster Pro 2, but not on the road. I'm not taking that big giant machine on the road, nor would I want to take the Rodecaster Pro 2 Duo. I'm not taking it. I'm going to be taking something like this. This is the MixPre 3 2. Oh man, this is an outstanding XLR interface. This has 32-bit float, just like the Rode Wireless Pro 2s. I mean Rode Wireless Pros. So I'm already familiar with 32-bit float. I've tested it. Sounds amazing. The preamps are just absolutely amazing in this thing. It has now it's called the Mix Pre 3 because there's 3 XLR inputs, and that's about it. Now, what will I be using this for? Documentary style stuff, interview type stuff. If I'm on the road and I want to say still have my podcast going, and maybe I want to interview someone. Maybe me and my wife want to interview one person. Now, yeah, that's the downside to this. This only has 3 XLR inputs, but to me that's okay. If I was doing an interview, it would only be me and one other person, or it would be me, my wife, and one other person. That's it. Yeah. So, yeah, Mix Pre 3 2, 32-bit float. Has a lot of other great features. There's other software you can buy for this thing, but I don't know if I want to spend $500 on software for this right now. All right, sticking with interfaces, this is what I'm going to be doing, or this is what I have been doing the majority of my podcasts on, and this is the Rodecaster Pro 2. Sorry, I'm going to look at my time here. Rodecaster Pro 2, man. Rodecaster Pro has come a long way. You know, the Rodecaster original, it was mainly just for podcasting. That's what it was designed for, okay? And it did its job very, very well. It had its flaws, but I feel like this new version, this updated version of the Rodecaster Pro, the version 2, it solved a lot of those problems. It actually added more features, and it's gotten a little bit smaller, a tiny bit smaller, not that much smaller, but a tiny bit smaller. But I mean, it's not just a podcast machine anymore. You can stream with this thing. You can do a lot. You can control cameras with this thing. This thing's amazing, and I'm lucky to have one. I think anyone that has a Rodecaster Pro 2 and any of this equipment that we're talking about today, you're lucky, okay? I do not take any of this stuff for granted. I am very thankful for the things that I have. I'm appreciative of being able to get these things, okay? So please don't judge and say, hey, you're just showing out, not showing off. No, I'm very appreciative. I just want to give you a behind the scenes look of the things going forward that I'm going to be using. Okay, Rodecaster Pro 2, love it. I think I've made the last 3 or 4 podcasts. I'm still getting used to this thing. It's definitely a little different than the OG Rode Wireless. I mean the Rode Rodecaster Pro. All right, that's it for audio. No. We'll come back to audio because I want to get into video right now, okay? Because I just want to talk about we'll talk about podcast stuff later as far as microphones. All right, so let's jump into video. First things first, I'm using the Rode. I'm thinking Rode right now. First things first, I'm using the Sony A7 IV. This is actually behind the scenes. I filmed my daughter's project with this little camera here. It's been my workhorse. For some reason, I gravitate to this camera a little bit more than my A7S III. Now, you know I have an A7S III. At least I think you know. You do now. But I don't know. I just gravitate to this thing. I don't know why. Maybe because it's one of the best hybrid shooting cameras that I've owned so far besides the A7 III. But yeah, A7 IV, great. I don't care about crops. I don't care about none of that other crap that people complain about. It does overheat. Yep, it did. It done it to me. Luckily, it did not stop working, but I got the warning and I checked the back to feel it. It was blazing hot, man. It was hot, hot. I turned it off because I got scared that it was going to overheat and mess something up. Sorry, I'm looking at my time again. Anyways, yeah, A7 IV. Let's stick with that. Videos. Listen, A7 III, I still have this OG. This is significantly heavier than the A7 IV for some reason. I just realized that. It's heavier than my No, it's not heavier than... Yeah, it is heavier, I think. A little bit heavier than my A7S III. But anyway, A7 III, OG camera. A7S III. Love this camera. Unfortunately, I think my A7 IV is going to get a little bit more used to this. But it serves, this has a purpose. If I'm out and really want to get some cinematic stuff, and I'm gonna be like at dawn or something like that, getting closer to sunset, I'll probably take this out. It's a little bit better in low light. And then my pride and joy, my FX3. Man, this thing's amazing. I love this camera. I'm still in the phase of learning about this camera and going through the menu and just diving into being able to operate this seamlessly like I operate my A7 IV or my A7S III. But, going forward, I'll probably shoot primarily everything on this FX3 inside the studio here. Well, this is not a studio. This is my office. But yeah, I love it. Now, I have to mention this. DJI microphones, simply, at least with my FX3, has a lot of interference. I know a lot of people have complained about that, and I've experienced it too. It doesn't matter if I'm using 3.5 millimeter jack on the side or if I'm using the handle. I'm getting interference from both. So, a little advice. If you only have an FX3, do not buy a DJI microphone. You could run into that issue. Now, will everybody run into that issue? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. But if you have an FX3 and it's your only microphone, I would suggest going with Rode or another brand just because of the interference you do get. I know there's workarounds where you can lower the preamp in your camera, but I don't feel like you should have to do that. But anyway, all right, moving on. Now, when it comes to motorcycle stuff, I've been using the GoPro 7. It just works. I didn't really need any fancy stuff. You just need this thing to point in the direction your helmet's going. And that's it. But, I think it's time to upgrade. There's like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 5 new cameras that are out beyond the Hero 7. So, but I did not go in the direction of another GoPro. I decided to jump on the bandwagon of the Action 4. So far, so good. I love it. I just purchased some ND filters that should be here probably in another hour. We'll do some tests on that thing. It'll be what you see going forward if I jump on my motorcycle and I'm getting footage and we're talking and chatting. That'll be the camera that I'm using going forward. I'm done with GoPro. Now, I've never lost footage with GoPro, but man, many, many times, well, technically I have lost footage. Footage that has never existed because it's frozen up and being on a freaking motorcycle going 65, 70 miles an hour, you didn't know it stopped. So, because you can't hear the beeps. Yeah, so I've lost quite a bit of footage by simply it not existing because it froze up and you have to take the battery out. I'm just sick of the reliability issues. And maybe the 12 will be different. And maybe, I will switch back at some point. But for now, I'm going to probably purchase another Action 4 and be 2 cameras deep with the Action 4 and be done with it. I like the Action 4. It's reliable. The interface is really great. It's simple. Touchscreen on the front. I can change things from the front or the back. It's great. It looks good. And I have to say, when you're dealing with GoPros, you can tell you're looking at a GoPro. Now, the great thing about this Action 4, if you color grade it correctly, you can make it really, really look like it belongs in your sequence. Now, the GoPros, it's not impossible, but it's a little bit harder to do. So I like that about the Action 4s. It can work seamlessly. You can put it into your sequence and make it fit, and you could barely tell the difference. All right, last camera is the RX100 Mark 7. I've had this thing just as long as the A7 III. Probably longer. No, not as long, but nice little point and shoot. Something that I would keep on my side to grab shots and stuff like that. Especially like if I'm going out in the world and you don't want to have this big giant camera be like all up in people's face. People are a little bit more comfortable with things like this, like far, far more comfortable. Like I know I would feel a little uncomfortable if someone had a big giant camera and they're talking to it, and then I obviously know I'm in their shot, So, I mean, most of the time I would never complain about that because I know how it feels to try to, how uncomfortable it is just to do videos in public. But anyways, yeah, something that you would use, or being that this thing is so great and it just plugs seamlessly with the DJI microphone, this would be something I could easily go out and shoot. Um, and people probably would never even think twice about this action camera. And if I didn't say say this, this camera is the reason I picked up the DJI microphones. Now it's a plus that it works with my A7 IV and my A7S III and the A7 III. It sucks that I don't get really good results with the FX3. Maybe in a version 2 it's gonna work, but as of right now, I get too much interference. And yes, I have changed the cord. I've used I have a Sennheiser set of microphones. I've used its cord, didn't work, still got interference. I've used the Rode. I have two Rode systems. I've used both of those cords and I still get the interference. So it's not with the cord, it's something internally with the receiver or transmitter. I'm not 100% sure. It has to be the receiver. So yeah, okay, that's it for video. No, it's not. So what camera lenses? 17 to 28 Tamron right now that you're looking through. I have a 24 to 70 OG G Master lens here that that's my original lens. I still have it. Obviously, I'm never gonna sell it. I get nostalgia. I don't want to sell things sometimes. Maybe I'm a hoarder. I don't know. All right, so G Master 24 1.4. I haven't shot a lot of things with this, to be honest. I think of this more of a photography lens, more than anything. It probably looks good. It's not as sharp. I do have to admit that it's not as sharp, even as my old G Master 24 to 70. It's not as sharp as that lens for some reason. And then I have a kit lens. This is all the lenses I own right now. This is the kit lens that came with my A7 IV. This is the 28 to 70. It's a decent lens. It has its issues, but we're not going to get into that right now. All right, so that's all video. Let's jump back into audio for 1 second. Let's start with this. We're going to end with this. I am going to be producing a podcast, video podcast, very soon with me and my wife. I was planning on doing one with a few of my friends, so I picked up a video switcher. This is the Atom X, Atomos, made by Atomos, that makes the Ninja 5s and all those great video recorders, monitors. Yeah, so I picked this up. Now this came as a bundle. It does not, you do not buy it together. It is not a complete set. It's not a kit. You can go to B&H and pick up the bundle. So both of these come separate, but luckily B&H does have a bundle kit that you can purchase this with. Man, this thing's great. I've used it several times and it's outstanding. Here, let me take it off. I'll show you. So again, these come separate. This is your everyday Atomos Ninja V Plus, 5 Plus, or whatever you want to call it. And this is the new hardware that makes this turn into a video switcher. It's great. It does everything that I needed to do. I've recorded a video with it before, and it did a very good job. It does everything that I needed to do. You can do live things with it. You can do live recordings. And the great thing about it is it's all in one compact system. And I have an Atomos memory thing here. And listen, it just saves it right to there. I can either do it live or I can just do everything internally here and then put it out to the world. All right, so last thing, and then we'll get out of here. Let's talk about microphones. Now, I am coming from the Shure SM7Bs. I no longer use the Shure SM7Bs. Why? Because I found something far better than a Shure SM7B, at least to me. Now, don't get me wrong. These sound amazing. They look good. It's not plugged in. They look good. They sound good. They come with a little bit of problems. They do have a lot of self noise. Why? Because you have to crank up the gain on these things. And it works very well with the Rodecaster Pro 2. That's primarily what I was using it with. But something I came aware of microphone that I've become aware of is the Lewitt LCT 440 Pures. This is, I think I've made my last podcast with this. I've really screwed it up because I'm not used to using the condenser microphones, okay? So don't judge me on that last episode. It's very echoey. Why? Because I'm not used to using condenser microphones. They're a little bit more sensitive, and I just realized that, even though I've heard that it was. Now, I can easily go back and re-upload that video or audios, but I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to correct it for our next podcast. But listen, looks wise, I think this looks better than the Shure SM7B. It's cheaper than the Shure SM7B. Sounds better than the Shure SM7B. You don't have that much work to do with these audio systems, with this microphone here. You don't have to do much when it comes to processing with this. Sure, you might want to bring in a little bit of bass, but that's about it. These are very, very great microphones, and we've switched to condenser microphones. If you were to ask me, hey, what microphone would you recommend? First, I would ask you, what interface are you running? If you're running a high-end interface, it doesn't really matter too much. You have pretty much everything you need to run any microphone that you desire, okay? But if you have a cheaper interface, it does matter. But with the condenser microphones, the condenser lineups, especially from Lewitt, I think most of their microphones are condensers. Listen, this thing sounds amazing. It does not take a lot of gain. I think I have mine set to like 30 or 35 on my Rodecaster Pro 2. And the wonderful thing about these microphones is the very low self noise. It does not make a lot of self noise. It's on par with the Rode NT1s, Rode NT1As. I think it might be 1 decibel off, or maybe 2. Now, if you don't know the Rode NT1, NT1As, they're legendary for having some of the lowest self noise, along with even more, like they're on par with some of the most expensive microphones in the world when it comes to self noise. Now, yeah, I think that's it. Oh, one last thing. Yeah, so you need pop filters with these things. They come with it. This is what comes with the whole package here, the Lewitt 440 Pure. It comes with the shock mount. It comes with 2 pop filters. This is a metal mesh, plastic / metal. Like, this front part is metal. This other part is plastic, but there are obviously some magnets here that hold it down. See? It stays on. Good. That's how I use it mostly. And then it comes with a foam screen. Boom. Pops right on. I prefer the metal plastic mesh because it keeps it small. This does add a little bulk to it, but hey, nevertheless, it looks damn good. All right, yeah, I'm done. This is still a 30-minute video, unfortunately. I'll check you guys in the next video. There's a lot of new stuff that we're gonna be doing. We're still gonna get into motorcycle stuff, don't worry. I'm not gonna abandon motorcycle stuff, but hey, we're gonna mix it up. Next video, we're gonna talk strictly audio. We're gonna be doing some audio tests, so stay tuned. See you guys later.